joined with the CEO of PharmaDrug Incorporated, Daniel Cohen, joins us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me here today.
I'm glad to finally have you on. I've been chasing you around for about, I don't know how many months, but finally we got a chance to sit down. But obviously it's great to have you on. Buzz, BUZZ, trades the ticker symbol under the Canadian Securities Exchange, needs no introduction. A lot of buzz going around with this company right now. But what's your year been like so far as the company is expanding and 2 to 3 hot industries that you're currently in?
It's been extremely busy. Lots
Has
going
it?
on. Yeah. So just to give you a little bit of synopsis on the company and why we're so busy,
Yeah.
we're a pharmaceutical company that's focused specifically on natural medicines. So that includes THC, CBD, psilocybin, and psychedelics, and
Yeah.
now saprophyrin with our latest acquisition here. So there's lots going on.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Let's quickly talk. We're going to get into the Netherlands and Germany because those are incredible opportunities for you. But let's talk about the announcement that was made for those that are like, learning more about this industry. You made an announcement on Monday, basically a definitive agreement finalizing an acquisition of a biotech firm called Cyril Therapeutics.
Mhm.
It was an all stock deal at $7.5 million. So let's talk about that acquisition. Why was it important for you to acquire them, and where do you see them sitting in your overall company moving forward?
I think it was extremely important. I'm very excited about the move, and I think that it's going to be a defining part of the company moving forward. So, as I previously said, we are a pharmaceutical company that focuses on natural medicines. We
Okay.
currently have a Schedule One narcotics distributor in Germany, where we're currently distributing medical cannabis.
Okay.
We are in the midst of discussing and finalizing a supply agreement with a large Canadian LP to be able to start distributing their product. We're also in discussions with several producers to be able to bring in product into Germany under our own brand. So
Wow.
we're launching our own brand in the next 6 months. And we're also far advanced in terms of developing a CBD line. So that's going to be all of our actions and our activities in Germany. We're developing a adult use business model in the Netherlands for psilocybin and truffles. And the piece of the pie that we're missing was biotech and research capabilities.
Okay.
And with the acquisition of Cyril, we're now introducing that into the company. The company's got a main drug called saprophyrin,
Okay.
which is a natural medicine.
Yeah.
And so we'll be moving that forward. But also, very importantly, it gives us internal research and biotech capabilities.
Right.
We already have ideas of how we can use those capabilities to add to the psychedelic efforts. So we'll probably be launching some kind of study in the psychedelic space in the next little while as well.
That's exciting. So when I look at Germany, it's by far the biggest medicinal market, especially for THC, and as you said, potentially CBD in the European district. So talks with potentially Canadian LPs, that's big news. So talk more, I guess, about that specific opportunity and how big that could be for your company moving forward.
So Germany is a very interesting market. First of all, I mean, the population is almost 2.5 times the size of Canada.
Yeah.
And in Canada, you saw
80 some million, correct?
Yeah. So in Canada, when it was purely medical, you saw it go from 10,000 users to 325,000 users over a 5-year period.
Right.
So that's doubling for 5 years, and that creates
Yeah.
a massive market. Germany's on the same track. Unlike Canada, though, Germany went legal overnight from a medical standpoint, but had no internal growing capabilities. And so for the first few years, all that product came from the Netherlands, from a company called Bedrocan.
Right, makes sense, yeah.
And so we are one of the distributors of Bedrocan, and we've been able to establish a distribution network. We have about 300 pharmacies that we sell to right now, and that's growing. But the bottleneck to our company in Germany was the ability to get more product. So
Right.
with this added product from a Canadian LP that's already got an established brand, we'll be able to significantly increase our volumes and the number of pharmacies that we deal with. And we're also really close to being able to bring in product under our own brand on the THC side and very soon on the CBD side as well. So lots going on there.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Some of the biggest pharmacies, I would think, in Germany. I know Afria has stuff with CC Pharma. So I know obviously you're not going to say obviously who you're speaking with at this time, but yeah, that's a big opportunity, I would think. So As I shift now to the Netherlands, I know in the psychedelic space, you hear this and we hear this a lot from a lot of investors is how do these companies work and how are they going to generate revenue in the short term? So I know with your cost story in particular, you do obviously have a story and an angle where you can obviously create revenue in the short term. So walk me through and my viewers as to what you're positioned obviously in the Netherlands right now and your model as to how you plan on to generate revenue in the short term.
So Netherlands is an interesting jurisdiction because psilocybin mushrooms are legal in the form of truffles, and truffles are merely, the part of the mushroom that doesn't grow out of the ground. So if you're allowed to sell psilocybin truffles, and basically you're allowed to sell psilocybin. The industry exists right now. They're sold in stores called smart shops.
Okay.
Smart shops are licensed stores that are allowed to sell psilocybin truffles. The opportunity we see in the Netherlands is that up to now, the majority of the smart shops focus on the recreational market, whether it's the drug tourism or whether it's, people in the Netherlands using it for recreational purposes.
Right.
What we've seen evolving over the past few years is the concept of using psilocybin for adult use and for medical purposes. Now, we saw the exact same thing in cannabis. Yes, you can smoke it, recreationally.
Yep.
And there are medicines that have been produced that are going through FDA trials, and you need to be prescribed to be able to use it. However, there's something in the middle: adult use, non-recreational. So people use THC or one-to-ones with CBD to be able to help them sleep, to treat pains, and to treat certain things that you don't necessarily need a prescription for. That's what we want to do in the Netherlands. So we've purchased our first store.
Yep.
We are looking for a flagship location in Amsterdam to be able to open a superstore and develop our brand. And we are very close to being able to launch our online website. And what's going to differentiate us there is that as opposed to just focusing on the recreational side of psilocybin, we're going to have that adult use for treating ailments, for increasing cognitive performance.
Right.
And we're going to have an educational content and educational process to our sales that helps people use it in that format. So what we'd like to do is open or buy 5 to 10 stores over the coming year and launch a website in the short term. And that's going to be able to basically generate revenue like we talked about, and revenue that can become profitable quickly.
What's the population
model? So that when other jurisdictions open up, we have the full model, the supply chain, the understanding of how to sell it, the feedback from the customers, and we can start transporting that to other jurisdictions.
Meaning other European countries.
Or maybe other parts of the Western world should they become legal.
Interesting. So how big is the medicinal market, would you think, in the Netherlands? And do you have forecasted? Is it still too early to kind of estimate?
It's way too early still to forecast it. The reality is that the majority of the market right now in the Netherlands is focused on, recreational. People are starting to put out, microdose type of products where it already comes packaged with, microdose dosage sizes. And that's starting to get a hold, but there's a need for information on and instruction on how to use that. And so we're actually working on an ability to deliver that instruction online and later on in our stores as well.
Certain parts of the world, people are a little bit more ahead of other people. But when it comes to the Netherlands, you think of truffles, psilocybin, obviously from a tourist recreational standpoint, but you're focused on medicinal. Would you say from a medical standpoint that country is a lot further ahead when it comes to psilocybin versus other parts of the world? And if so, what do you see? Because you're a CEO of a company that you're over there a lot.
No, the reality is that it's legal there. I wouldn't say they're more advanced medically. But because it's legal there,
that's is there more awareness and understanding of it?
It's bifurcated. The reality is that a lot of people in the Netherlands, don't use it and don't, look at it the right way. And that's just a product of the proper education. So it still has that stigma in the Netherlands of it being a recreational drug. And so that's our opportunity, right? Not only are we looking to create a medical adult use approach that can be transported into different jurisdictions, we want to be part of the machinery that's going to change the perception of it in the Netherlands itself. We're going to be, going after people that want to use, I mean, look, people are always going to want to use it recreationally. There's nothing wrong with that if you make it, if you decide to do so. But we're going to want to be able to educate a new part of the population on how psilocybin and psychedelics can be used for personal benefit, whether it's increased cognitive performance or whether to treat ailments like PTSD.
Well, listen, I appreciate, and I know you're a busy guy, but I appreciate you connecting with us here today. Heck of a story you've got going on here. We obviously want to watch you closely. Trading volume is very, very strong and has been for a number, well, I don't even want to say number of weeks, the past few months, but best of luck. It sounds like there's some great things on the horizon and two, or should say 3 emerging industries for sure. So all the best in 2021. Let's keep in touch and we'll reconnect in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it.